This video is for every grandparent who has ever looked at their grandchild, this beautiful, fleeting soul you love more than words can say, and felt a quiet, invisible gap forming between your worlds. These next few minutes are dedicated to giving you the keys to building an unbreakable, loving bond with your grandchildren that will echo through their entire lives, long after you're gone. The lessons you are about to learn will transform you from just a grandparent into their confidant, their hero, and one of their most cherished memories, ensuring the love you feel today becomes a legacy they will carry forever. Before we go any further, if this is a topic that touches your heart, could you do me a small kindness and press the like button below? Your support helps this community reach more grandparents just like you, and it truly means the world to us. I'd also be so grateful if you would share a favorite memory with your own grandchild in the comments. Reading your stories truly warms my heart and reminds us all why this connection is one of the most sacred parts of life. Let's begin with a truth that can be hard to hear in our modern world. In a culture that screams bigger is better, we are often tricked into believing that our love is best shown through the size of the gifts we give. We see the flash of joy in their eyes when they unwrap the latest toy, the newest gadget, the clothes their friends are all wearing, and for a moment, it feels like we've succeeded. But that flash is fleeting, isn't it? The toy breaks, the gadget becomes obsolete, the clothes go out of style. And what are you left with? The need to buy something new to get that same flash of excitement again. This is the endless treadmill of presents through presents, and it's a trap that can slowly erode the very connection you're trying to build. What your grandchildren will remember, what they will carry in their hearts when they are parents themselves, is not the thing you bought them. It is the time you gave them. I remember a man I met, Arthur, a 74-year-old retired factory worker with hands as rough as sandpaper, but a heart as soft as cotton. He told me he used to spend his modest pension on expensive video games for his grandson, Leo. Each time, Leo would light up, give him a quick, distracted hug, and then disappear into the glowing screen for the rest of the day. Arthur would sit in his armchair, listening to the electronic beeps and booms, and feel a pang of deep, profound emptiness. He was in the same room, but he was a million miles away. He was present, but he wasn't connected. One weekend, he decided to try something different. He didn't buy a new game. Instead, he pulled out some old, forgotten with scraps from his garage, a rusty hammer, and a handful of bent nails. He called Leo over, away from the screen, and said, "Let's build a birdhouse. It won't be pretty, but it'll be ours." At first, Leo was skeptical. This wasn't a game. There were no levels to beat, no points to score. But as Arthur showed him how to hold the hammer, how to feel the grain of the wood, how to carefully sand the rough edges, something shifted in the quiet garage. They laughed when a nail went in crooked. They celebrated with a shared, triumphant look when the four walls finally stood on their own. It was a wobbly, imperfect birdhouse, stained with sweat and maybe a little bit of Arthur's blood from a missed hammer swing. But they had made it together with their own two hands. Years later, Arthur told me Leo barely remembers the video games that once seemed so important. But that crooked birdhouse sits on his windowsill, a permanent, tangible reminder of a perfect afternoon with his grandpa. Your time, your attention, your skills, these are the currencies that build a legacy of love. They don't have to be grand skills. It can be baking cookies and letting them make a mess with the flour. It can be planting a single tomato seed in a pot and watching it grow together. It can be teaching them how to skip a stone across the water, or simply sitting with them and listening, really listening. The greatest gift you can give your grandchild is the memory of your undivided attention. It tells them, more than any toy ever could, you are worth my time. You are important to me. So step off the treadmill of presents and step into the quiet, beautiful world of presents. It's the only gift that truly lasts a lifetime. Now, let's talk about a challenge that many grandparents feel but don't know how to navigate: the generational gap. It can feel like your grandchildren live on a different planet, one filled with strange music, confusing slang, and technology that seems to change every day. It's so easy to feel left behind, to retreat into what's familiar and quietly judge what we don't understand. We say things like, "In my day, we played outside," or "I don't understand that racket you call music." Every time we say that, the invisible wall between us gets a little bit thicker. The secret to breaking down that wall isn't to force them into your world, but to bravely, and with genuine curiosity, take a step into theirs. You don't have to love their world, but you do have to respect it. I knew a woman named Eleanor, a sharp, 78-year-old widow who adored her teenage granddaughter, Chloe. But she felt a vast distance growing between them. Chloe was always on her phone, absorbed in a world of videos and messages that Eleanor found baffling and, if she was being honest, a little bit annoying. For months, Eleanor complained to her friends, "She never looks up from that darn phone. It's like I'm not even here." Then, one day, she decided to change her approach. She took a deep breath, walked over to the couch where Chloe was scrolling, and sat down. Not with judgment, but with a gentle, curious question. "Honey, could you show me one of those TikTok videos you love so much? I want to understand what makes you laugh." Chloe looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. She had been expecting a lecture. Instead, she got a question. Hesitantly at first, she scrolled through her phone and showed her grandma a silly video of a dancing cat. Eleanor didn't really get the joke, but she saw the pure joy in her granddaughter's eyes, so she laughed too. It was a shared moment of connection over something that belonged entirely to Chloe's world. That small act of humility and respect opened a door. The following week, Chloe came over and, unprompted, put her phone away to ask her grandma to teach her how to knit. Why? Because her grandmother had shown her respect. She had validated Chloe's world, and in return, Chloe became open and willing to enter hers. Ask them about their favorite video game character and why they like them. Listen to their favorite song, even if it just sounds like noise to you, and ask what they like about it. Ask them what their friends are talking about at school. When you show a genuine interest in their life, without judgment, you are telling them, "I see you. I value you. Your world, as different as it may be from mine, matters to me." That validation is one of the deepest needs of the human heart, and it's a gift that a grandparent is uniquely positioned to give. You become a safe harbor in a world that is constantly judging them. Don't be the grandparent who complains about their world. Be the one who bravely asks for a tour. You might be surprised at how much you enjoy the visit and how much they appreciate you for simply being willing to step across the threshold. As a grandparent, you hold a position in the family that is absolutely unique. You are the keeper of the stories. You are the living bridge between your grandchild's present and their family's past. In a world where they can Google any fact, any date, any historical event, they can only get their own history from you. This is your superpower. But so many of us misuse it. We turn our wisdom into lectures. We start our sentences with, "When I was your age." And we see their eyes glaze over instantly. They don't want a lecture. They want a story. They want to know the human, imperfect, and often hilarious truth about the people they come from, especially their own parents. There's no greater joy for a child than to hear about the time their parents weren't perfect authority figures, but were kids themselves. I once spoke with a man, Frank, an 80-year-old with a mischievous twinkle in his eye. His grandson, Michael, was sulking because his father had grounded him for getting a bad grade in history. Michael felt his dad was being unfair, that he didn't understand the pressure. Frank didn't say, "You should have studied harder." Instead, he chuckled and leaned in conspiratorially. "You think that's bad?" he whispered. "Let me tell you about the time your father, Mr. Perfect, decided to borrow my car to impress a girl when he was 16. He didn't just get a bad grade. He ended up in a ditch with a very angry farmer and 2 terrified chickens in the back seat." Michael's eyes widened, first in disbelief and then in sheer delight. He saw his father not just as a stern authority figure, but as a teenager who once made mistakes, who was once just like him. They laughed together, a deep, shared laugh that bridged 3 generations. In that moment, Frank became more than a grandfather. He became a storyteller, a confidant, the secret keeper of the family lore. Your stories are a treasure. Tell them about your first love, your biggest mistake, the day their parent was born, and how you felt. Tell them about the world before the internet, about the challenges you faced and the simple joys you discovered. These stories do more than entertain. They give your grandchildren roots. They help them understand who they are by showing them who they come from. It builds a resilience in them, a sense of belonging to something bigger than themselves. So, the next time you feel the urge to give advice, pause. Ask yourself, is there a story here instead? Replace the lecture with a memory. You will cease to be a critic and become a legend in their eyes. Now, let's discuss a very delicate but incredibly important topic, your relationship with your own adult children, the parents of your grandchildren. They are the gatekeepers. And navigating this dynamic with grace and respect is perhaps the most critical skill for a grandparent to master. It's so tempting to be the fun grandparent, the one who lets them break the rules, who slips them extra sugar when mom isn't looking, or lets them stay up past their bedtime because a little won't hurt. In the short term, it might win you some points with the grandkids. They might see you as their co-conspirator. But in the long term, it can be devastatingly corrosive to the family structure. Every time you undermine a parent's rule, you are sending a message to your grandchild that their parent's authority isn't absolute, and you are telling your own child that you don't respect their parenting. This can breed resentment, and, most critically, it can limit your access to your grandchildren. A daughter-in-law who feels her rules are constantly being ignored will be less likely to encourage sleepovers. A son who feels he's being contradicted will be less likely to ask you to babysit for the weekend. I remember a lovely woman, Margaret, aged 76. Her grandson, Sam, desperately wanted a new toy, but his parents had a firm rule: no new toys until his birthday. Margaret's heart ached to buy it for him. The temptation was huge. It would have made him so happy in that moment. But she held back. She respected the boundary. She knelt down and told Sam, "I know you want that, sweetie, and it's a wonderful toy. But your mom and dad have their rules for a reason, and it's our job to respect them. Let's put it on your birthday list together, and I'll be the first one to remind them when the time comes." Later that day, her daughter called her and said, "Mom, Sam told me what you said. Thank you for backing me up. It means so much to know we're a team." That trust is priceless. It ensured Margaret was always a welcome, celebrated presence in the home, not a source of conflict. Being an ally to the parents is the smartest long-term strategy for a close relationship with your grandchildren. Communicate with them. Ask about their rules regarding screen time, snacks, and discipline. When you present a united front, you create a stable, secure environment for your grandchild, and you solidify your role as a trusted, indispensable part of the family. In the tapestry of family life, the threads that hold the tightest are often the small, repeated rituals you create together. These don't have to be grand or expensive. In fact, the simpler, the better. These rituals become the private language of your relationship, the sacred traditions that belong only to you and them. They are the anchors that your grandchildren will hold onto for the rest of their lives, long after the big, flashy events have faded from memory. Think about it. What are the things you remember most from your own childhood? It's probably not the one big vacation, but the small, consistent things, the way your mother hummed a certain song while she cooked, or the specific stories your father told at bedtime. These rituals create a sense of predictability and safety for a child in a chaotic world. They become islands of security in their memory. For a friend of mine, Walter, an 82-year-old living in Arizona, his connection to his granddaughter Sarah, who lived in Chicago, was built on one simple ritual. Every Sunday afternoon, at exactly 4 p.m., they had their Stargazing Club phone call. Walter would tell her about a constellation he had looked up that week, describing the stars and the myths behind them, making the vast universe feel a little less intimidating. Sarah, in turn, would tell him about her week at school, her friends, her dreams. It was their special time. It didn't matter if the call was 5 minutes or 50. It was their sacred space. Years later, when Sarah went off to college, homesick and overwhelmed, she still called her grandpa every Sunday at 4 p.m. That ritual was her anchor to home, her connection to his unwavering love. Your rituals can be anything. Pancake Saturdays every time they sleep over, where they get to flip the pancakes no matter how messy it gets. A special secret handshake that only you two know, a complex series of moves that ends in a laugh. A specific park bench where you always go to feed the ducks and talk about nothing and everything. A joke of the week you share over the phone. Or reading a chapter from the same beloved book every time you see them. A story that unfolds slowly over the course of their childhood. These small, repeated acts of love are what build the foundation of a lasting bond. They create a world that is just for you and your grandchild, a world they will cherish and return to in their memories for all of their days. Of all the secrets to building a strong bond, the last one is perhaps the most simple and yet the most profound. Listen more than you talk. In our busy, noisy world, a world of constant notifications and endless distractions, the gift of your full, undivided attention is the rarest and most valuable thing you can offer. When your grandchild is talking to you, whether they are a 5-year-old chattering about a ladybug they found or a 15-year-old mumbling about a problem at school, you must learn to stop everything. Put down your newspaper, turn off the television, put your phone face down on the counter, and look them in the eye. Listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Don't formulate your advice while they are still talking. Just listen. Absorb their words. Hear the emotion behind them. The excitement, the fear, the confusion. Ask open-ended questions that show you're engaged. Instead of, did you have a good day? Ask, what was the best part of your day today? Instead of, are you okay? Ask, it seems like something is on your mind. Did you want to talk about it? When you give a child your complete attention, you are telling them, without words, you matter. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter. You're seen. For a child, being truly seen by an adult is a powerful, formative experience. It builds their self-worth and creates a foundation of trust that is unshakable. You become their safe space, the person they know they can turn to without fear of judgment, interruption, or dismissal. In a world that often moves too fast to pay attention to them, you become their island of calm, their proof that they are heard. That is a gift of immeasurable value. As we come to the end of our time together, let's reflect on the journey we've taken. We've learned that your presence is infinitely more valuable than any present you could buy. We've discovered the power of stepping into their world with curiosity instead of judgment, and the irreplaceable role you play as the keeper of your family's stories. We've understood the wisdom in respecting their parents' rules and the magic of creating your own sacred rituals. And most importantly, we've remembered that listening, truly listening, is the ultimate expression of love. Being a grandparent in today's world is a beautiful, complex dance. It's about knowing when to lead and when to follow, when to speak and when to be silent. Your legacy will not be etched in stone or written in a will. It will be written in the hearts of your grandchildren. It will be in the echo of your laughter, the warmth of your hugs, the wisdom of your stories, and the unwavering feeling of being completely and unconditionally loved. That is the greatest inheritance you can ever leave. Thank you for joining me today. It would mean the world to us if you would leave a comment below and share one piece of wisdom you hope to pass on to your own grandchildren. Let's create a beautiful archive of love and advice right here in this community. Please like this video and subscribe to continue being a part of our growing family. We are so glad you're here.